A First Look Gnomes production. Introducing Episode 12.
On the 12th day of podcasting, my fiance said to me, 12 Cornish knockers, 11 Belfast wrestlers, 10 beating lightsabers, 9 German introductions, 8 bunnies and cups, 7 dream pubs for drinking, 6 stormtroopers stripping, 5 chat GBT, 4 jingle jangle poopy drones, 3 PlayStation VR, 2 parents parenting, and 1 kidney stone pinging against the toilet bowl.
Yay! Bravo, Williams. Bravo.
Thank you very much.
That's a superb introduction. I actually thought earlier today, I wonder what he's going to do for 12. And as soon as I thought 12, the first thing I thought was 12 days. I thought, it's July, not a chance. And you have proved me wrong. That must have taken you a long time. That was almost as good as Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire.
It was almost, wasn't it? Have you noticed there's loads of Christmas movies out at the moment? I don't know why.
I haven't seen that. No,
I'm getting all the recommendations, all these Christmas movies, and I saw something about apparently half Christmas is becoming a thing or something.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I don't know.
It gets earlier every year, Williams.
Yeah.
Can I please give a special commendation to PSVR 3, PSVR 2? That was very clever.
3 PlayStation VR 2.
Because it's the PlayStation VR 2 that we've talked about. Was that intentional?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That was very clever.
Also did the 5 chat GPT.
That was superb, Williams. I think you peaked now. There's no point really us recording the rest of the episode.
12 was probably a season-ending episode, actually, isn't it? But,
let's just finish. Let's just say, well done. You've peaked. That was superb. And thanks for everyone for listening. Good night, everybody.
As I said before, some people might be saying good night because they sleep to the podcast. But there we go. Episode 12.
Episode 12. Who'd have thought
Episode
it?
12. So welcome.
Dozen episodes
to the companion podcast where we take a first look at things.
At certain things.
Such as things I listed in my little sing-song. So.
Yes, previous episodes, all of those things are covered. Go back and have a listen if you've not listened before.
Have a listen. And we also drink things. And on that note, last episode, I started a new segment. And I've decided to call it, especially because I struggle pronouncing my THs. This is a safe space. I'm going to admit I struggle pronouncing my THs. But I've decided to call this Thirsty First. Where I sample a new drink for the first time. So this episode, a beer I've never drunk, is...
It's a great name for a beer.
It's called Slag. It's an old looking bottle. It says Anno 1860 with a little coat of arms on it. Slag Lager Beer. And it says Brouwerige Slagborder.
Sorry, what was that?
Brouwerige Slagborder.
Bless you.
It's a that's not in English.
Really? No way.
There we go. There's an English translation. Slag Lager Beer, which means beer, I would presume.
Beer.
Yeah. Is a smooth, hoppy, unpasteurized pilsner, traditionally brewed with barley malt and aromatic hot flowers. 2 months delicious. Matured in our cellar.
Everyone loves a pilsner.
It's a 5%, and it's from Belgium.
So a Belgian pilsner, and this is going to be your first time trying this.
This particular one, yes. Called
Can I ask
Slag.
you? I know it's a Belgian beer, but can I ask you how you came across this bottle of Slag?
Well, there's a special. So I've treated myself to a little speciality bear shop.
Oh, someone's doing all right for themselves, eh?
It's potent.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's just opened the bottle and pulled a face like he smelt a baby's nappies. Does it smell like a slag?
Oh, and I mean that's.
Oh, and the labels come off.
I can't hold it, but oh no, this is
I know
dangerous.
it's a podcast, but if you can see Williams' face when he smelled it, it was not the man who was like, "Oh, this is going to be a delicious bottle of slag." It was more like, "Flip me, what have I paid for here?
How much?
How much of this?"
Oh, it smells. You know how like Beck's has a sort of weird smell.
David Beckham?
No, he might do. I don't know. That's Victoria, but no, Beck's beer
Oh, Beck's Beer.
has a slightly pongier taste.
Does it?
Smell? Yeah, I find
I've
so.
never noticed that.
But it's like that times 10.
Okay. You're selling it to us, Williams. You're selling it to us.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. The segment isn't working, is it? But I'll press on.
Well, let's see what it tastes like. It looks. I mean, listeners, it's a lovely colour. It's a very light colour. Oh, good sound effects. Ooh.
It's a strong beer.
It's a strong beer.
It's a pilsner. It's
a pilsner. So
there you go. That's the end of that segment.
So after your first 2 sips of slag, would you say this is something you would want to purchase again?
No.
Okay. We can't talk about the effects yet. Maybe in half an hour's time, once it's got into the system.
If the segment does continue, so far, last episode, go back. That was I think I described it as burnt popcorn. And this one stinks like Beck's. Well, worse than Beck's, but
So 2 for 2.
There we go. Anyways,
are these a question for the viewers? Are these subscription services to beers of the world really just a way for people to get rid of old stock that tastes like mouldy socks?
It probably is actually.
Possibly. Pay £6 for this bottle of beer that tastes like something we'd rather not describe and say.
This isn't a subscription. I've actually bought this from the shop.
Oh, very nice.
I thought if I do, I've looked at the subscription things, but I thought no, because if I do that, then you have to drink them, and then you're subscribing to a habit. Then, so I thought at least if I'm buying it, I'm choosing when I buy it as opposed to
a bit like Netflix.
As opposed to being forced upon me.
Yes, you can unpackage that however way you wish, Williams, but I think all in all, that's probably a sensible choice.
Yes. Cheers.
Here's the slag. Terrible beer, lovely colour. I think if we can clip out the noise of you going when you first struck it, it's probably that could be the new feature. This could be expanded.
I don't think they'll be sending me any free bottles of beer.
Slag. Yeah, instead of doing like a rating system out of 1 of 10, you can just do a sound to summarise your feelings.
Grab your slag.
I don't want to after you just... I don't want any slag while it comes.
Grab your slag, grab your fishing rod. Let's go to the fish pond of feedback.
Here we go.
Well, actually, I mean, last night I was dreaming that we're at the fish pond.
Oh, yeah.
But then suddenly we weren't at the fish pond.
Oh, flip, where were we?
Well, we were swimming in an ocean of orange soda. But it was just a fantasy.
Every time, I think he's actually telling me the truth about something, and no, it's just a segue into a terrible dad joke. Yeah, and fantasy.
So you might remember that as of the last episode, and I'm gonna fish out the answer for you now. I left you with a bit of a riddle. I don't know if you remember.
No.
So the little riddle was: what do you have? Sorry, if you've got 12 apples in one hand and 10 oranges in the other.
I do remember this, and I believed I knew the answer then, and I believe I still know the answer now.
The answer is big hands.
Big hands, yes. It wasn't really a riddle. It was another terrible dad joke.
No,
You dress it up however you want.
I mean, yeah, I suppose it was disguised as a riddle. But
It wasn't like I think we did that one before, didn't we? About what's stuck in the corner but goes around the world, and it's a stamp.
Yeah.
That's a proper riddle, Williams. I mean, not delivered very well, and I've probably just said exactly the wrong thing, but that's a proper riddle. Yours was a dad joke.
Also, last time, I think the first time in our friendship, Mr. Hodgkiss, you didn't agree with me, and you said you wanted to fact check me.
I wanted to fact check you because I thought you'd done something wrong.
In terms of what did I enter the world singing when I was born?
So just to put that into context, he doesn't actually mean singing. He means what was number one on the day he was born.
What was I singing when I was born?
So, and he believed it was "Hello" by Lionel Richie,
Which was the correct answer.
which was, and it turns out that we may have been looking, because again, back when Williams was born, back in the year 1984. Songs that were released in the UK usually came from American artists. Usually were released in the UK several months after they were released in America.
Different times.
So we had questioned when Lionel Richie was number one, because I had been convinced Lionel Richie Hello was number one in January, and he was in America. But in the United Kingdom, Dan was absolutely right. He came out singing "Hello" by Lionel Richie.
Hello.
So, but it's always good to fact check these things.
You're looking for?
It was, I think it was an epidural your mother was looking for, but give me the gas in there, give me the gas in there.
What feedback have we got from the fish pond?
Can I just enter one
course you can.
bit of
Yes,
feedback
go for it.
from my mother?
You don't enter it, you fish it. You fish it out.
I'm going to fish this one out. This was delivered to me in person. So my mother decided. My mother got one of those fancy speakers where you call it Alexa, and it does stuff. So she got one of those. Tried to play our podcast, wasn't able to. Eventually found a way to.
She should try again by Alexa. She can do it.
I don't know if it was the accent or what, but it tried to play something on Amazon Music, and other streaming services are available. Anyway, she eventually got it on Spotify, and she listened to one of our episodes for the first time because she was intrigued to hear, what it is we talk about. And her feedback was, "Oh yes, it was very good. I had to fast forward a few bits," and I was like, because it was too long. And she goes, no, I was just, I was like, yeah, a bit long. Okay, thanks for the feedback. So, but she enjoyed it. She said she enjoyed it. She enjoyed the bit she listened to. And the feedback would be, make it shorter. All feedback is welcome, positive and negative. But I'm glad, welcome, Mother, if you hear this episode, if you haven't already fast forwarded past this bit. I hope you enjoy listening to this while you make Daddy's tea.
We had a shout out from someone on Instagram, Lights Camera Rant. So thank you for that little shout out.
Whoop, whoop.
That's good. We had some feedback. Someone said the whole thing makes me laugh my face off.
Very good.
Someone also said it's a lovely episode. That podcast is my fix for homesickness.
Oh yes, I know the person who sent this in. Yes, another family member.
Yeah.
So I have a family member who lives overseas, and she enjoys listening to the podcast and says it helps her with any homesickness. So I'm glad to offer that service. We hope this makes anyone listen to it feel warm and fuzzy.
And your wife actually listened to an episode.
She did. Why? She sent something in?
She did. She said, "Well done, Gnomes. Very funny."
Wow. And she didn't find anything funny.
And I think she was trying to start trending a hashtag freedom of swinging. So
again, listen back to previous episodes.
Yeah, we and also, I mean, we do have listeners outside of our close circle, but my fiance did call you out as a sexist, which I think was a bit harsh.
Oh, it's probably fair.
Because she did, because you did make a comment, and I should have corrected you on it, Mr. Hodgkiss. But you said Marvel went downhill since they killed off Iron Man and Captain America, but we missed out the Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. So she left
But that wasn't
Sometimes
sexist.
well.
That was a subjective opinion that it got worse for killing off Iron Man and Captain America. I don't necessarily feel it got worse for killing off Black Widow. And to be honest, it got worse when it brought her back and made the Black Widow film, which wasn't very good.
Really, I liked the Captain. Well, it's a bit political now, but Captain Russia.
Yeah, the guy from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to episode 11, possibly the great. I mean, other than this episode, possibly the greatest introduction of all time to a podcast. You have 11 and 12 were great. So I apologise if that was being sexist. I wasn't a massive fan of the Black Widow character. Yeah. Black Widow.
Not enough superpowers. Do you like a superpower, or do you like?
Yeah, like Scarlet Witch. I think she's brilliant. You know, but Black Widow was a bit like Hawkeye, just a bit.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
He stands out a bit. Hawkeye, doesn't he? Really, in the
Hawkeye series was good.
I've not watched it yet.
Oh no, it was decent. It definitely made me like him more. But again, the reason Hawkeye was so good was because of the girl in Hawkeye. Like the character, I can't remember her name, but she was in Pitch Perfect too, and she's just funny, and she's a great character. So yeah, my leaving out Black Widow wasn't due to sexism. I just don't particularly like the character, but there are plenty of female characters I do like.
Paul Rudd is 54.
Unbelievable. What a man.
We do have new listeners that aren't our wives, fiancés, mothers, sisters.
Don't tell porcupines.
Well, unless you know anyone from... actually, you might do, actually. So we've got a new listener from Middlesbrough. So welcome, new listener from Middlesbrough.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is from Middlesbrough.
We've got a new listener from Coventry.
No, don't think I know anyone in Coventry.
Someone from Zillina in Zillina.
From where?
Zillina. So welcome, wherever that
And
may
where is
be.
that?
I don't know. Have a quick Google. And welcome to new listeners from Wokingham.
Wokingham,
Where's
nice.
Wokingham, actually? Where is that?
Wokingham's down south, I believe.
Is it?
But hang on, let me just. How do you spell Zillina?
Zillina.
Slovakia.
Slovakia.
Slovakia, yeah.
Might be our first listener from Slovakia.
Hello. And then where was the other place you say? Wokingham, full of woke people. So Wokingham, yes, it's to the west. It's the west of London, so it's towards Reading.
Oh, well, there we go.
Kind of, yeah, directly west of Croydon, a little bit southwest of Slough.
And from Kissimmee in Florida.
Oh, more people. We have a lot of listeners in Florida at the minute, don't we?
New listeners. We do, actually. We're quite popular there.
Floridians love us.
Ever since the podcast festival.
Always a pleasure.
Moving on to some first looks.
Whoop, whoop.
I'll start my little first look, if that's all right.
I think so. You've got two little ones, and I've got one bigger one today.
It's a short one. Yeah, I've got two little ones. But my first look is someone else has got two little ones. So we had a first look at Logan's first two little teeth.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah, so he's had his first teeth come through, bless him.
His teeth are cutting.
So it's not even half birthday yet, but yeah, his first teeth come there.
And how's he coping with them all? Are they causing him much discomfort?
Yeah, I mean, he's...
Is he pooing more? Because they get sore bums when they have teeth come through, don't they?
Yeah. So he's been struggling a little bit, bless him, but I think all babies do, don't they?
Mm-hmm. So, I don't think it's easier for any child.
It carries on for ages. So
you got that to look forward to.
Yeah, that's two teeth out of... How many teeth do they get? I still not Googled it. I've been meaning to Google it for ages. So, like 28, I would guess.
I know the answer to this, and I should just be able to pull that out of my brain.
You have more adult teeth than you would milk teeth, I presume.
Yeah, because you get your wisdom teeth.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to say it's 24. Again, I don't think we should cheat. This should be the cliffhanger. How many teeth do babies have?
The average child has their full set of 20 primary teeth by the age of 3 years.
And that's what we were discussing on that pub episode. put your phones away. don't look in Google. Just it's 24.
It's definitely, mate. I'm so.
It's 24, mate. 24 teeth.
No, mate. They have an odd number because they have one in the middle, one sticking up in the middle, and then the rest are out. Everyone thinks it's an even number because that would make sense. Nah, mate. Nah.
Yeah, it's first 2 teeth are the bottom ones. Well, I don't know if that's the same for everyone.
I think usually they are. Yeah, the 2 little bottom ones come through, and they have those little gummy smiles with just 2 teeth sticking up, and it's always very cute.
Yeah, bless him.
I remember when Brain was teething. I just remember his bum kept coming out sore, and we were like, "Why is he getting a sore bum?" And the doctor said to us, "Because he's teething." I was like, that makes no sense. Like, how does his teeth coming through and his gums?
All the extra saliva they're building up.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Do you know that, or is that another one of these?
No. Yeah.
Oh, it is that.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, mate. It's definitely, mate. He's so bum. It's because of all that saliva, mate. It's all that saliva.
I'm pretty sure it's all the saliva because they go. They keep doing that type thing.
Life would be so okay. What did I do? That's the same noise you made when you tried that slag earlier. It was like, delicious.
I'm going to try some more, actually. But,
I agree. We should just never have
it's growing on me, the slag, by the way. It's growing on me. That is the name of the beer, just to remind listeners.
It's not just being a sexist pig.
No. Yeah, unlike Mr. Hodgkiss with his Scully had some comments. But what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought.
We're talking about kids making saliva, which is why the bums get sore.
Yes, they built the saliva because the saliva it affects their system.
Every day's a school day.
Every day's a school day.
Because we're not using our phones, we can't fact check that.
No.
As proven before, I won't fact check with him.
I'm sure we'll listen back and Google it and think what plonkers we were.
Probably. We should know that. As 2 fathers of children, it's the kind of thing we should know. Leslie Ann said this to me the other day. She was asking me about something and she's like, how do you not know that? How do you not remember that? And I said to her, I just kind of do stuff on autopilot. I'm just... As a dad with admin and job and responsibility, you just kind of... I don't know. I just do things on autopilot, and I can't always remember everything I've ever done. So, did he put this somewhere? I assume I did. You just trust yourself that, I locked the door, didn't I? I'm sure I did. And I don't bother going and checking because I would have locked the door. And then you come back and the door's open. No, I didn't. Okay. It is just one of those things.
It'd be really scary. Say you could go back in time and talk to your younger self. Yeah. And you could tell your younger self that your dad is on autopilot and hasn't got a clue what he's doing because he's never done it before. Could you imagine that? Just how scared you'd be? Because at the time, when you're a kid, you just, he's a dad. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Don't you?
I remember a friend of mine, Marianne McDonald, really probably one of the funniest women you'll ever meet. And I remember when we were pregnant, when my wife was pregnant, and I was like, man, what the hell am I going to do? How do you do this? And she goes, nobody has a clue what they're doing. We all just wing it and we all hope for the best. Yeah. And I was like, it was it was exactly what I needed to hear. It was really reassuring because she's intelligent, she's smart, she'd run a successful business, she has, beautiful home, beautiful family, and think, well, she just winged it. Oh, there's hope for us all. So I was like, okay, even the smartest people I know still don't have a clue. I was like, that's reassuring.
Yeah. I think probably yourself and other people told me that, but I still, we've had books that we read and sort of things like that. But every kid is different. They don't actually help that much anyway, because you are literally that kid is the only kid of that type in this situation.
But think of it this way as well, Williams. If you read a book that's 300 pages long, and then in the heat of the moment something happens, you can't necessarily recall everything it said in that book. So you might remember 1 or 2 little key snippets of information that you may never actually put into practice. because that situation never comes up for you. Whereas another completely random situation comes up and you're like, I'm not prepared for this. I don't have a clue. You haven't got time to go and Google what you're meant to do or ring somebody else sometimes. You just have to go on gut instinct. And I think
you can't stop and say, excuse me, Logan, if you look at page 52, paragraph, you should be doing that.
Darling child should be displaying signs of this and that and the other. Darling child is blue in the face. Then why the are you reading this book? Take him to the hospital before he dies.
Sort of that. And apparently, I sent my mum an apology because she told me that I did it as a kid, and I just sort of laughed. But Logan's now doing it. So Logan does his thing where he doesn't pretend because he's not doing it on purpose.
Does he hold his breath?
He makes a sound where he's like, he's gasping for air.
Okay.
And he's just making the sounds. He's just, practicing different sounds. And apparently I used to do it as well. And I sent my apology. I said, if I did anything like this, I'm sorry.
Because you now know the fear of what is that noise?
And he's fine because he's been doing it. He's done it a few times now. He's at that age where he's trying different sounds. And this particular sound he's quite enjoying. Yes. And it gets our attention.
Okay.
Because every time he makes the I can't breathe sound,
what are you going to do?
You're going to
rushing over there.
We're not going to ignore him. So so he's doing that at the moment, which is
lads,
which is fun.
Fun for him. He's having the time of his life.
Yeah,
Mum and Dad are here again. Look at this. This is brilliant.
He does the gassing thing, and then we go to him, and then
It sounds a bit like what's he say? What's he do?
He just does a little laugh. Not as deep as that, but
it's a mixture of Frank Bruno and Jimmy Carr.
Yeah. That's on there.
Very good. Again, not the sound he made when he opened up the slag.
A typical cute baby laugh.
Yes. Or as we would now always remember, think of Logan when he's laughing. When you listen to this when you're older, Logan, remember, Daddy does love you. He thinks you're a very special boy, and he's not really taking the piss out of the noises you make. He's just processing the fact that sometimes when you make noises, you scare the shit out of him. I remember when Brayden was little, he used to hold his breath. No, he didn't hold his breath as in like, screw you, Daddy, I'm going to hold my breath. No. He's what was I watching? There was a film I was watching the other day when the kid held a breath. What was that film? Oh, when he was
really little, a baby little.
No, so Brandon said he was about, I want to say to this, probably about 18 months old. Yeah. But like he'd cry. So he had a few things going wrong with him, and he'd cry and he'd get upset and he'd hold his breath, and he couldn't breathe. So we used to have to blow on him. And
just
sometimes trying to get him out of the hole, and occasionally it would work, and occasionally it wouldn't. So you've got your child, and he's going literally bluer in the face. Lips turn blue, skin starts to turn blue, and then he passes out. And then you have to wait for him to come back around and breathe. And I remember a couple of times it happened. So obviously the first time it happens, you poop your pants. Because you're like, but again, I'm so lucky because Leslie Ann is a nurse. She's cool as a cucumber under pressure. No, it's fine. Come on, sweetheart. I'm there. Bloody hell, what's going on?
I would, yeah.
I'm breathing. Throw a bucket of water on
it.
If
that's me and Georgie, obviously we haven't got any of that background.
I tell you, you've never been so happy for like anyone who knows my wife. No, she's not. She's the complete opposite of me. She's not loud. She's not obnoxious. She's not stupid. She is calm, cool, collected,
cool as a cucumber,
full of wisdom. So when this used to happen, like she'd be, obviously under the water, flapping like, "Flip, this is my child, he's not breathing." But she's like, "No, this happens to certain children. It's fine." And we come around, and she'd give him the love, and he'd be okay. But it's not a fun thing. Like you do, you do poop your pants.
So why was it happening?
Oh, see, again, you know what? We talked about this 5 minutes ago about how I can't remember things.
Yeah.
Like I can't recall. I remember it happened, and I would have known why and the theory behind it. But now it's past. It's just left my brain.
Yeah.
I can't remember why.
No.
I think it's just something some kids do. And I think it's relatively common, if I remember.
Yeah.
Now, that could have just been the doctor telling us that to calm us down.
Maybe.
But I think it's relatively common. It's something that generally go out of. It's not a fun thing to do. So I'm just going to think tonight of Logan just there in the middle of the night going... and you and Georgie jumping out of bed. Is he all right? And he's just smiling at you with his 2 new teeth sticking through. Hello, Mummy. Hello, Daddy.
Tricked you again.
Why not? We can have some food. Brilliant. Yeah, the joys of kids. The joys of kids.
Joys of kids.
Hours of fun. So yes, new teeth then. New teeth.
Yeah. There's 2. Yeah. And then so obviously those teeth will grow, and then you obviously get the new adult teeth.
Generally teeth
then,
grow, Williams. That's what happens.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Thanks for that biology lesson.
There you go.
They will grow.
That's why people tune in to these episodes, just for those pearls of wisdom.
Oh, bloody hell, teeth grow, do that. I didn't know that, mate.
There are certain people that don't know that. But do you remember as a kid that...
I didn't know teeth grew. I didn't know at the end of the day the sun set and it went dark. I didn't have a clue about that, mate.
But do you remember that point as a kid, though, that where you don't realise that your next set of teeth are your final set of teeth? No?
No, Williams.
No, just me then.
No. Not many people have that realization when they're about 9. Oh, I will never get a new tooth again. When you wish upon a star. Oh dear. Sorry, I've just got in trouble for making too much noise.
So that's my fault. You can blame me for that one.
If anybody has had that moment when they realise I'm never going to have new teeth again, it's like Careless Whisper. Never going to have new teeth again. These teeth are all that I've gotten.
Oh dear.
Never gonna bite again the way I bit with you.
Oh dear. Oh, you make me cry.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway,
sorry, I best fucking go back.
And then obviously, these teeth are obviously going to come out at some point.
They are.
And but my sister's going to get me in trouble because my sister, for my niece and nephew, well, my niece at the moment, they get paid £2.50 a tooth from the Tooth Fairy.
That's cheap.
£2.50, is it?
Well.
Well, don't you start giving Logan ideas?
Well,
part of your godfather duties is not to say, oh, it's 10p.
To be honest, Williams, we never have any cash. So if we ever need cash, you have to go to a cash point, and usually you only get a 10 or a 20. So Brain's never had anything less than a 10 for a 2.
You're joking.
No.
Oh, right. That's you off
He
Godfather
doesn't
duties.
take contactless. I've tried just leaving like a debit card under his pillow and saying, charge us £2.50, would you? But no, we just never, because again, it's one of those things as well. The 2 comes out, and you don't realise until probably you're going to bed yourself like, oh shit, tooth fairy. And like, oh, you got any cash? Oh, I got 17 pence in 2 pence coins. Can't give them that. Oh, run to the cash point. Okay, and you pray that they've got tenors. Pray they've got tenors, and then you're like, can I be bothered to go and buy some chewing gum to break it? No, just give them a tenner. Just give them the tenner.
Oh gosh, right.
Get him to put it into one of his jars, and then eventually you end up nicking it back out of his jar anyway, because you're like, well, we've got to pay. You know, someone will come round, knock him for some money. You end up paying someone for something, or putting in a birthday card. Oh crap, we need a tenner for a birthday card. Go into Braden's jar, go into his jar, nick a tenner. We'll replace it. So most of his tooth fairy money is just repayment for what we've borrowed out of his money jars anyway.
So if your Godfather duties, Logan's going to go up with like you say, with a contactless there. So yeah, I'll take 50 quid. Cheers, Dad.
That's it. He's going to have one of the little square things that you can tap. Just go straight into his savings account. And why not? That really made me laugh. That did.
First look. Your first look, George. Let's move on from
yes, let's just compose myself, because my first look is not a funny first look. It's an actual first look at something that isn't funny at all.
Well, I mean, it's teeth lesson was meant to be a cute thing, not a funny thing.
It was a cute thing. It was just that kind of the way you put that question. Like, did you ever have that realization that you're never going to have new teeth ever again? I was like, not many people give it that much thought. You just lose your teeth, and the tooth fairy gets them, and they go away and make palaces out of them, and you've got £2.50, circa £10 to spend on sweets. But anyway, we'll just take a moment to recompose ourselves.
Yeah, let's have a minute's silence for that final tooth you lost.
That was good. I've not laughed like that in a long time. I've not burst my giggle back like that in a long time. That was very funny. On we march. So, my first look, Williams. So, listeners, we are recording this on July the 14th, 2023. It's currently 10:47 p.m. And this week, as many of you regular listeners would know, I live in Northern Ireland. So the reason we're off this week is because generally the country shuts down for this week. It is known as the 12th week. There's a public holiday on July the 12th and July the 13th. And most of the time, a lot of companies will just shut for the week. In the old days, they used to shut for the fortnight, the 12th fortnight, and basically the Northern Irish economy would come to a bit of a standstill. So we've been off this week for July the 12th week, and a lot of the times we would use this as an excuse to go over to England because the English kids haven't broken up from school yet, so you can usually get over to England and go and see chums and friends. But this year we stayed around, and it's always interesting to see what goes on. So I won't go into the history per se of the 12th week, because we live in Northern Ireland, so anybody who knows anything about Northern Ireland knows it's a bit of a divided community. You've got two sides of the community, and the 12th is very much the loyalist side of the community's celebration. We won't go into the rights and wrongs of it. I would say there's a programme on at the minute on the BBC iPlayer called Once Upon a Time in Northern Ireland, which is worth a watch for anybody who wants to swat up on the history of this country.
Once Upon a Time in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's a heartbreaking watch. A 6-part series. The footage is raw, and the history of this place is it's so complicated. You can't really. It's very hard to explain to somebody. Give me 30 seconds, explain the history of Northern Ireland. You just can't. So that series is well worth a watch if people want to learn a bit more. But it's on iPlayer, yes, and it's it takes people from both sides of the community. It takes people from the forces, and I thought it was very, very interesting. Made me blub like a baby. Some of the stuff it's heartbreaking. It is. But this week, the 12th, it's generally where you have the Orange Order parades and the Loyalist communities come out and they celebrate William's victory in the Battle of Boyne in 1690. So what they do on the 11th night around Northern Ireland is a lot of the Loyalist communities will light bonfires. So, bonfires. Now, in England, we have Bonfire Night, which is celebrating Guy Fawkes trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Over here, the bonfires are a little bit different. It's not like a bonfire and a fireworks display. It's a bonfire, which originally they were community things that were done kind of at the end of the road. And in the history of it is that they would have lit a bonfire, lit a beacon, and the beacons would have been lit. One would be lit, then the next one would be lit, then the next one would be lit. To say that things are getting started, but now the bonfires have turned into a bit of it's not so much a beacon as they make really, really big bonfires. And the biggest of them all is in a place called Larne up at Craigyhill. So we went to have a look at this because we're like, all right, so they keep talking about this bonfire being the biggest bonfire in the world.
In the world?
In the world. For me, it's massive.
How would you? I don't know. A standard 2-bed house. How many? Is it like that size?
I will tell you the stats values around this bonfire.
Yeah, please.
And I will implore visitors from anywhere in the world to go and have a look at this Craigyhill bonfire.
Craigyhill.
And they do a good job. So they build it like properly. Now, I say they build it properly. They do a good job because the way the bonfires are built, it tends to be kids and lads from the area.
Yeah.
2 or 3 months before the 11th of July, will start to build a bonfire. And it's not, it's not like there are professional teams of bonfire builders. These are kind of amateur organisations who are like, no, we're going to build a bonfire because it brings the community together and we all have the big night on the 11th and we all celebrate. So you will see people collecting wood and pallets for the bonfires. So most of the bonfires tend to be built out of wood and pallets. And this one at Craigyhill is built out of wooden pallets, but it's over 200 feet tall, so they reckon it's like 210 to 220 feet, which is a 20-story building. So you think of a 20-story...
It's a bit bigger than a house, then.
A little bit bigger than a house. So you think of a 20-foot skyscraper. A 20-story skyscraper.
I'm trying to...
And this is made out of wooden pallets stacked. So they start with kind of a circle and they work up, and then as they get taller, the circle gets thinner and thinner and thinner, so eventually it comes to a point. But we went to have a look at it.
How? Do people just climb it and then?
So a lot of the time someone will lend them a cherry picker, but most of the time it's the lads. Lads will just carry the pallets up. So they build them round, and they almost build steps around the outside. Yeah. So think of like a spiral staircase, and they just work as a team. I mean, it's phenomenal what they do with them. It's just like jaw dropping. So
surely it's. I mean, do you have to stay a certain distance away from it when it's lit?
So the houses.
If that topples over.
Oh well, they obviously set up a perimeter around it for because it will fall. So when they light these bonfires from the top of them, and the fire kind of comes down them, and eventually they fall over.
Yeah.
And obviously the surrounding houses. So what they have to do a lot of the time is they board the houses up and board the windows up because the amount of heat that is generated of these things. So a lot of the time the fire service will come and they'll effectively hose down the houses to keep the houses cool, to stop the houses from melting. And it is bonkers. And again, you can't explain this in a podcast. You can't explain the history behind it. You can't explain the rationale. To a lot of people, they're just like, you don't really get it. It's like, what is it? To put it into a visual perspective, the Tower Bridge in London. So the Tower Bridge is the main bridge, the world famous bridge in London. That it's called Tower Bridge, not London Bridge. So the pillars. So one of those pillars is about, I think the pillars from sea level to the top of it is 205 feet. So this bonfire is bigger than one of those. So if you've ever been to Tower Bridge and stood at the bottom and looked up at Tower Bridge, same kind of thing, but man-made out of pallets and then set on fire.
That's nuts.
It is. So they usually, traditionally, they would light these bonfires at midnight on the 11th night. So we've never actually been to see one lit because we have a young child. So, by midnight, we're asleep. But you can watch them being lit on, people live stream them and record them, and then they always make the news the next day and stuff. So we went to have a look at the world's biggest bonfire. Now, we went there to see it lit. We watched it. We have seen it lit subsequently on the social channels. But the 11th of July, the 12th of July, the big bonfires, love them or hate them. Some people love them. Some people hate them. Wherever you stand, it's still it's a bit of history in our wee country, Northern Ireland, and it was something else. And you could see everyone was having a good time there, and there was as far as we know, there wasn't much trouble. I know there was at some other bonfires, and someone fell off one of them. So again, one of the dangers of building these things is obviously you have to climb up them. And in one of our towns, not too far away, Newtonard, someone fell off with they were climbing. They lit it and they were climbing down and had a fall. And I know last year somebody sadly actually passed away. They'd fallen off, and their injuries were catastrophic. But in just terms of the world's biggest bonfire in Northern Ireland, built out of pallet, 210 feet tall, as big as the Tower of London. I got my first look at it. It was something to see. Yeah.
Wow. Very good.
And that's the end of that first look. What's your last little one, Williams?
My last little one. It's more of it's a world first look. And to continue the theme I mentioned earlier that I can't pronounce my THs, we had a first look at Fred's.
Fred's?
Yes. Have you heard of it? Yeah.
So you said Fred's for FR, not
exactly.
TH.
I know, exactly. Fred's.
So this is the new Twitter.
I can't get my head around it. So first names are now on Threads.
Are we?
But we won't be posting much on it because I still can't get my head around it. So Threads is Twitter, but apparently it's meant to be. So Twitter, I don't use Twitter. So I tried Twitter a couple of times back in the day. I couldn't get my head around it in terms of using it, so I stopped it. I'm sure I've still got an account there somewhere. I did get actually a tweet from Susie Perry back in the day.
Oh, the Dictionary Corner woman?
No, that's
Susie Dent. Susie Perry. She's from Wolverhampton, isn't she?
The Gadget Show.
Yes, she's a Wolvo girl. Yeah.
She actually tweeted me back in the day. A long time ago.
Didn't she do motorbike racing and stuff as well?
Yeah, motorbikes and the Gadget Show.
Susie Perry. I wonder what's happened to her now.
But she tweeted me back. So that was quite
claim to fame.
That's my little claim to fame. But then after that, I was just like, I don't really understand it.
Likewise, I don't really get the value of it.
So, but then Threads is apparently like Twitter. And apparently everyone needs another Twitter in the world. So that kicked off. So that's the first look at that.
Do we really need something like that? Do we not just? I mean, we've proven ourselves.
I don't know if it's about a need, but
do we want it? Like we've talked about tonight, right? The joy we got from not searching things and just coming up with our own answers.
Yeah.
We learned that, or we surmised that babies get sore bombs because of saliva. Now we could have easily have gone on and found a Wikipedia thing, but where would the fun in that? Should people not, instead of going on their phones, should people not just be going down the pub and chatting nonsense again? Would the world not be a better place, Williams?
Bring back old wives' tales.
Old wives, yeah, absolutely. Gossip that no one knew if it was true. Rumours, and there was always rumours, weren't there, back in the day about certain people who had done certain things. And now you can just be like, oh no, that's oh no, I can disprove that. We don't want it disproved. We like the nonsense.
Yeah.
I want to know about certain, actresses from certain soaps doing certain things, didn't they? Oh, it's very easy to dispel those rumours now.
What did they do? Oh.
I don't know. Maybe we should just, yeah. So what's your experience of Threads so far? You've come on here saying about Threads, but you don't seem that enthused by it.
No, I mean, because Threads is owned by Meta owned Facebook and Instagram, so it just popped up. It probably popped on yours at some point.
Yes,
but it pops up and says, "Click here." So I clicked. And yeah, I don't know. It's just text, isn't it, as opposed to images. I put a little joke on there. I put the fantasy joke on there.
Oh, very good.
And that's about it, really. But
apparently 10 million people signed up to it, in its first day.
Probably more than that now. Yeah.
Either your fun time, your work time on Threads. Like, I can't see why you would want to.
No, I don't know. It's very much like Twitter, and I couldn't get into Twitter, so
no. I suppose again, Twitter's big because Donald Trump's on there and he's got a massive following.
Well, no, he used to be on there. That was the whole thing.
I was back now, isn't he?
Yeah, because Elon Musk bought Twitter, and then I think he allowed him back, but it didn't go back. I don't know.
He set up his own, hadn't he? And he set up his own kind of.
Yeah, which I guess didn't work, but yeah.
It's all a bit nonsensical, isn't it? It's all a bit much.
It's a bit silly.
I think what we said earlier, Williams, about don't bother with your phones. Go down the pub and have a proper conversation.
But apparently, and I mean that would be a public conversation. But apparently, Elon Musk and is it Mark Zuckerberg? His name?
Yeah.
Apparently, they're training up to have a UFC fight match.
I saw that one. I don't think that's real. I think that's them having a bit of fans. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
They don't exactly look like they would be. I mean, again, two very intelligent men. I'm sure they could probably get themselves into some kind of fighting shape, but would you want to see it? It's a bit mental, isn't it? And Jeff Bezos, the referee, and Bill Gates on commentary. Just these rich men. Threads. I'm not an early adopter of those kind of things.
No.
I'll see what happens with it.
Shall we end a little cliffhanger? Have you got any cliffhangers?
Only the one we talked about earlier, which I can't remember now. Because again, my memory, I have terrible memory these days.
Yeah, as per usual, we get to the end of the episode and we're just retired, drunk, waffle. But we can end on a little riddle if you like. A little riddle.
No. Is this a riddle or a dad joke?
No, it's a riddle.
An actual riddle?
An actual riddle. Why don't you ever see an elephant hiding in a tree?
I can guess the answer. It's not a riddle, that isn't one of them. It's not a dad joke, is it?
No, because they're really good at it.
So you give us the answer as well?
Yeah, sorry.
I thought it was going to be a cliffhanger.
It was, but then you said it wasn't a cliffhanger, so...
Well, it was a dad joke though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah. All right, we'll try and think of a proper riddle for next time. Have you got any others now that you want to leave us on?
What do you get when you cross a snake with a pie?
So again, this isn't a riddle, this is a dad joke. All right, we'll leave it though. We'll leave it in. Okay. So what do you get when you mix a snake with a pie?
When you cross a snake with a pie.
Cross a snake with a pie.
So a snake's had humpy with a pie.
Okay. Humpy. Oh, humpy. Humpy. Who calls it humpy?
I don't know, I just did.
Humpy.
This is a PG family podcast, Craig.
Okay. Humpy. Okay. On that note, viewers.
Anyways, I need to go see the fiancé for some humpy.
Let's go. Come. I think after drinking slag, there's no chance of you getting any
I finished the slag. It was lovely.
Lovely slag. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, come back next week to find out about
next month. We're
next
not doing
month.
weeklies
So
yet.
beg your pardon. To hear about
until we get an exclusive contract with
slag,
Spotify or someone, or sponsored by Slag, then
or
we'll do
Threads.
weeklies. But...
Brought to you by Threads. Until next time, listeners.
Until next time.
Look after yourselves and each other.
What button do I press?
The red one. Never gonna have new teeth again. These teeth are all that I've gotten.